Okay, I've been getting a lot of questions about these planters, 1790, 1795s, about the toolbar. One question pertained to ground penetration, maybe not getting enough weight per unit, that kind of problem. Here's a few of the tricks I've learned over the time. First of all, the John Deere toolbar does not have any wing down pressure. Kinsey did. Here's your wing pivot pin. This wing just floats. There's a couple linkages up here behind the hoses, which we can see if it was folded out. However, there's no down pressure. So whatever the length of the wing is, which is going to be dependent upon if you have a 1223, 12 row, 16, 1631. John Deere does have hydraulic downforce on the new 24 row 30s, I believe, and maybe some bigger ones. I know the Bauer bars, the new bigger Bauer bars, have it as well. There is a machine shop here in Iowa that's making a conversion kit, which I'm going to put the pictures in of how they're off of his site or what he's supplied here next. If you notice this toolbar, these mainframe wheels are slotted here. And one of the problems I was having with our 1795 is the only weight you have for down pressures, your hopper weight, your main toolbar weight, which is carried on these tires. And typically this is pushed on the bottom of the pin. But what's happened to 1795, we were in tough to cut corn stalks, so we increased our down pressure. At the same time, it's got the pneumatic tails, so we took pressure here, which actually is wanting to pick this unit up, then we're wanting to push unit down there, and it was causing a balancing issue, which is causing the toolbar to put all of its load transfer to the row unit. And then once it transferred it to the row unit, you dispersed it over to the 23 rows, and it still wasn't enough weight to cut through the corn stalks. We actually found out that a little less down pressure yielded in greater penetration than a little more. So if you're hitting the threshold where you're actually not running into the bottom of the slot because all your toolbar weight's actually suspended to your row units, then you've actually hit a point where there's nothing further you're going to be able to do as far as putting weight to the row units, especially with that wing out there just being under its own weight, unless you have a kit. To combat that, you need really sharp coulters. These coulters have about 5 acres on them, and they're just about like razor blades on the edge, which is what you got to have. And they always say coulters will wear down. You can move the notches. I don't find that to be true. As soon as that sharp edge goes off, they're shot. So you can see the bevel cut there where they cut them in the factory for sharpness. I would say half that bevel goes off. They're about junk. And for what they cost, compared to putting your soybeans in the ground right, you're better off buying coulters. Same with your True V's, a nice sharp edge. These equalizers here, they'll play a big part. They'll get wear in them. And you want to keep these very well greased or they'll play a big part too. So anytime you got wear, you're going to end up with an inconsistent depth, which is why we ended up rebuilding these row units. Some guys have a tendency to want to elevate the toolbar in the front, which will push more weight down on these rear units, tilt them down a little more. That's also not going to give you a very even penetrating depth. The book actually calls for the machine to run completely flat, which can be an issue based on your tire size of your tractor, whereas this tractor's 18 450s or a 20.846 from the same diameter. 3 points all the way down are not actually going to be enough. You're going to have to adjust your lengths out to extend it even a little bit more to go ahead and get completely level. This machine's pneumatic, the 1790, it's obviously the older pneumatic system, which is just an airbag. And you can see up here in the front, there's a gauge for it. They'll actually have the pounds here, which this is pounds for down pressure for pounds of air pressure. So the soybeans are going to be around 300 pounds. Depending again if you want to see your toolbar float and you want to check your gauge wheels here to make sure that they're going to be running properly too. Our 1795 has the pneumatic down pressure as well, but it's called the active air, which means it regulates on the go. Bit of a joke. The new ones, they have a hydraulic on the go, constant adjust. The idea is you get like a mud hole or soft spot, it takes pressure back off. I think a lot of that stuff's salesmanship because, and they do sell a hydraulic conversion for the $17.95, but in soybeans, a lot of times you're cutting through no-till corn stalks. You're pretty well to the maximum capacity of what's going to go in the ground anyway. So unless you do hit that soft spot, I just don't see a lot of advantage to either system. However, I do think they are a little bit better than the old spring systems were. And I'll share some more tips as I get out to the field once it dries out again. We keep getting rains almost daily now. It seems like wasn't even anything predicted for this morning, which was Monday. And here it rained again. So, yeah, the planting is delayed. Glad the corn's in. It's all been done. It's coming up. We just need heat. But once we get the field, I'll actually do some more on these planters. For some of you, you may have noticed this toolbar sitting in the background. This is a John Deere 2510C. Quite clean after I got it all power washed up. Bought this used, got it for a really great price, well under half a new. Again, it's a model 2510C, and this is a 13 on 30 inch spacings, 13 row. If you dig through my archive of videos, you'll see me back in the day with a 2510S and a commodity cart. It was a great toolbar, but it was a terrible commodity cart for dry fertilizer. This is a 2510C, which is now discontinued. They're all 2510S's. A quick history on that. John Deere had the 2510S Master, which has a coulter gang in the front. Then they have their own style shank in the back, or knife, I should say. Then they have hydraulic down-pressured closing discs. Closing discs look just like these, except they're on a rotating shaft. They'll put hydraulic down pressure. Later, they unveiled the 2510S Medium, which came with the individual closers, not the gang of coulters. And the Medium had the hydraulic tails as well, which was only out for very few short serial numbers. There's just a little stretch where they made them. Then they started putting the free swinging tails on them. Later on, they introduced the 2510C, which uses the same individual swinging coulter as what you see right here, same as the 2510S Medium. So you got 2510C, 2510S Medium, which use this style coulter. The difference between a 2510S Medium and a 2510C was a C was a 13 or a 17. The Medium was a 12 or a 16 knife machine. Additionally, the other change is this bracket right here that attaches the shank, and this is just a standard mole knife. And we bought these brackets and ran standard mole knives on our 2510S Master. We also dropped our coulter gang in the front off, threw it in the junk, and went and bought DMI coulters for it. We should have never sold that toolbar, but the guy that bought it wanted to actually buy it as a combo unit, the cart and the toolbar. But looking back, we should have kept the toolbar and just sold the commodity cart for whatever we could have got out of it. At the time, it looked like we were making pretty good money on it, so we bought the Case IH. But again, we should have just kept the toolbar only, even though we would have got literally pennies out of the commodity cart. Now the C's have been discontinued, so there is no more C's, there's no more 1317s, but all the 2510S's all share the same main frame, 12, 16s. You can see where the winglets or the extra wings going up there. If you had the Master with the other style deal, they go on there. This is 13, it can be converted to 12. Just having those back brackets for the different knives made it worth buying, plus combined with the price. It's actually already plumbed with dual Ravens. It's got 2 section controls, which if you want to go to 12, be 6 and 6. And it's got the John Deere Green Star rate controller already on it. So pretty good buy in the machine, actually very good buy. A few little parts here or there, like some warning light arms that needs to be replaced. Those are all supplied to us as part of the purchase. One other key difference between this and a on-row, like a 12-row would be, obviously this is a hitch here, it's like a rectangle, so this knife can come between it. The others would be a single hitch because it goes in between the rows. For us, that doesn't matter if we do want to convert this to 12. Our goal with this toolbar was actually to go to 12. We might leave it 13. I just haven't decided yet. But we want to run it with a Montag Gen 2 cart, which to attach that cart, it'll be here in the rear of the machine anyway, and you take all this hitch off, it goes up and over, and obviously you pull the anhydrous carts behind the dry cart. So that dry cart almost kind of attaches the rear of this system, makes a nice short coupled unit. Easy to turn around, way better than what we had in the past. The Montag carts are actually made for fertilizer and just don't have the plugging issues or anything. The 19 or 1910s, they're made for grain. So yeah, quite impressed with the toolbar. It's a good heavy duty unit. It needs a couple of things, but overall, pretty much field ready. Like I said, I gotta get these lights. Somebody clearly just destroyed this thing, but this is all new, in hand, in the shop. Just gotta put time to get it put together. And I'm gonna go through a few hoses and everything. It's only got one tank hookup, and that's gonna be two. But again, if you have a Montag cart, they're gonna be different length hoses anyways. So until I get that sorted out, I won't even get the hoses ordered. Otherwise, it's great shape and ready to go. The other thing we're working on is this chrome baler. We got to replace all these VHS rollers, which, according to the book, you start out here in this little top hole up here by this gearbox, and then you loosen them up, then you rotate this around, and they'll come to this window here, which I'm going to have some help to spin this back and forth. You can see that one there, the race and everything else, it's just quite wore out. Those seem to be a high pressure deal. There's a little write-up in the book even about how to replace them. So we're going to be working on getting this thing up to par. I see several places on these twine guides and stuff that are shot. And when this came in, it got in a salt storm out in the Rocky Mountains. Well, anyway, there's definitely a few places that got a little corrosion on this winter, which I'm not too happy with, but so goes life. They'll power wash up a little better, and once it gets the feel, starts working back and forth, I think that surface rust will wear off. But anyway, we're going to be working on this, and we'll have a lot more video content coming up in the future. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. If you like the channel, hit the subscribe button, and I guess if you don't, you can always hit the unsubscribe. But yeah, anyway, thanks to all the people that take time to comment. Well, most of you. But anyway, thanks for watching.